Hello, my beautiful people. This is Anna Sharif again. So today I want us to talk about different forms of abuse when you're working with the elderly population, individuals with physical disability, intellectual disability, mental health, or any form of disability. Reason being that a couple of weeks we've been seeing so many abuses on Facebook, on social media, where some of the caregivers are either reporting themselves or they are being caught on camera. We saw one of the videos, which I'm going to try to insert in this video that I'm making, some of them, and no intention of dehumanizing anybody. It's just for reference purposes. That is why I'm trying to use this video. One of the videos you're going to see is from YouTube and courtesy to the Boo Bones. It was posted by Boo Bones, and the other one we're going to see, the other ones we're going to see are from caregivers who posted them on Facebook. I don't know their names, but I'm only using the videos for reference purposes. Please, I just need to make references to them. Two of them are from Facebook and the other one is from YouTube, courtesy to the Boom Bone on YouTube.
This is 64-year-old Martha Diaz-Sanchez. Miami police arresting her after watching her kick her 93-year-old client, Luisa Sofia Kesep, who was sitting helplessly on the floor of her bedroom.
Video surveillance in the victim's bedroom revealed that the suspect did actually kick the victim on the right side of her leg, causing a large laceration.
And in this photo, you can see just how deep of a gash Kesep sustained. Miami police saying Kesep's son put up surveillance cameras inside her home in the 1200 block of Southwest 29th Avenue in Little Havana.
In a case like this, we're very thankful that the victim did have surveillance footage inside of that bedroom. If she not, God knows what could have ended up happening.
According to the timestamp on the video, all of this happening at 1:15 Monday morning. In the video, you can see the blood on the floor and then Diaz-Sanchez just shoving the 93-year-old woman multiple times onto the bed face first. According to authorities, Kesep's daughter called police saying her mother was kicked and abused by the caretaker, who had only been hired 2 weeks ago and was living with her mother. Their surveillance video also shows Diaz-Sanchez returning to the bedroom with a mop to clean up the blood on the floor and then moments later bandaging up the cut on Kesep's leg.
I immediately wanted to cry. I was so shocked. How could this even happen?
It's something Tracy Ripley never thought she'd see. Her grandmother, Lurleen, appearing to be hit by one of her caretakers.
I'm going to speak on the lady, the caregiver who did Facebook Live with her client in her home. She's there to provide services for this particular elderly lady because she cannot provide support for herself anymore. And her taking that woman live on Facebook while she was spitting on her was a violation of the elder woman's privacy. Also, there's something called consent. Before you record anyone, especially in the occupation that we are in as caregivers, before you record or take anyone on any social media platform, you have to obtain consent. Consent from the individual if he or she is their own guardian. If they are not, you have to take consent from the guardian, consent from the family members if they are the guardian, or consent from your employer. Based on the way the caregiver was so angry, I strongly believe she never obtained permission, nor take consent to put this older lady on Facebook. That is a violation of this elderly woman's privacy, a violation of a human right. The other video we saw is a violation, that is abuse. It's a clear abuse, physical abuse. Now, that is what we're going to talk about today, those forms of abuse. Physical abuse is when you cause bodily harm to someone by hitting them, kicking them, choking them, tying them to any chairs or bed, that is restraint in the first place. Now, restraint is not acceptable anymore. Where you tie somebody or you lock them in their bedroom, it is restraint. We cannot do that. Those are abuses, physical abuse. Another form of abuse that we see a lot and we're going to talk about is emotional abuse. You know, sometimes people call people names, say hurtful things to them. None of us want to go through that. Nobody want anyone to abuse them. Nobody want anyone to call them names. Why should you, as a caregiver, who is a paid employee, use abusive languages on your individual? Call them names, say hurtful things to them, curse at them, threatening them. You threaten them, you yell at them, and you tell them things that, you know, are hurtful. We should not be doing that as paid employees. Another abuse is neglect. Neglect is when you refuse, absolutely refuse, to provide nutrition, proper nutrition, or withhold food from your individuals or your client that you're taking care of. You fail to give them their medications. Those are all forms of neglect. We should not be doing that. Another abuse we're going to talk about is abandonment. You know, I know most of us have 2 jobs. We're running to go to our other jobs. Like I said, the field that we're working in, the money is not there. We're not getting paid enough. That I can say. However, that does not give us the right to abandon anybody, to physically assault anybody, to emotionally abuse anybody. Abandonment is when you want to go, for example, to your second job, or you want to go home just because you're tired. And then instead of waiting for someone to come and relieve you, you decided to leave. You left your individual or your client unattended. If that individual or that elderly woman or man was able to stay alone, then they don't need us caregivers. We don't need to be in their homes to care for them. It is because they need care, they need someone to be with them. That is the reason why they hire us. And when they hire us, they give us an offer letter. We are so excited, we claim we can do the job. And then when they give you your job responsibilities, including that challenging behavior, explaining to you this particular individual's behavior, you say you can handle it. And then when you go in there, when it becomes challenging, that is when you start abusing that person. We as caregivers, we are all mandated reporters. If you see that your individual's behavior is becoming challenging, it is your responsibility to report to your employer and come up with ways, trainings, behavioral support to support your particular individual or the elderly population. It is also our responsibility as mandated reporter to report abuse and neglect, exploitation, everything. But this particular Facebook caregiver who went live reported herself. She did. Because no one wants to see their family member on social media spitting at someone. Even that caregiver has a mother, she has a father. She wouldn't want to see her mom or dad on social media without obtaining her, the caregiver's consent or permission to put her parent on social media the way she did. It is a violation of that particular person's human right. It is a violation of their privacy. You know, another abuse we're going to talk about is sexual abuse. Now we know, we have heard. No one can tell me they have not seen it or they have not heard it on the news. There are a lot of people who are in jail right now who are sexually assaulting their individuals, especially those who have intellectual disability. Someone who is intellectual, sometimes they're verbal and non-verbal individuals. If you had sex with a non-verbal individual, how did that person give you permission or consent to have sex with them? Even those who are verbal, you are a paid employee. You have no right to sexually assault anybody. Absolutely no right. You are being paid to care for this particular person. You have violated against their human right. Another one is the financial abuse, also exploitation. Again, there are a lot of people who are in jail, especially when you go into the elderly individual's home to care for them. They start writing checks, using their money to pay their own personal bills as caregivers. You have no right to touch their social security money without their consent. The only time you can do that if you are in charge of paying their bills, you are in charge of buying groceries for them, you are in charge of paying their medical bills. That is when you have the right to do so. But you do not have the right to write their checks for your own personal gain. You have no right to take their property. You have no right to do anything with their belongings or their money. You are being paid to be there. So, my advice today is, please, if you do not have the temperament to be in this particular occupation, it is your right to leave. You have a choice to find another job. The state that I live in is employment at will. They can fire you and hire you at any time. So, if you know the person you are working with, their behaviors have become challenging for you, it is your choice to walk away from that job and find another job. Prevent yourself from going to jail, because these are all crimes. You can go to jail for them. Also, please have patience. I'm going to continue to say this. The money we get paid is not enough. However, that does not give us any right to abuse anybody, to exploit anybody, to neglect anybody. I'm going to continue to say this. Every human being, every person has the right to be treated with dignity and respect. Don't treat anyone inhumanely, because when you've kicked somebody, when you hit someone, you have taken away their humanity. Also, please have compassion when you're working in this field. If you do not have compassion, please do not venture in this particular occupation by working with individuals with intellectual disability. Because when we work with them, they become a part of us. I've been a caregiver for 21 years. We should have compassion. We should have patience. We should treat everybody equally. We're all human beings, and we should be treated with dignity and respect. I cannot emphasize on that. Dignity and respect. If you, as a caregiver, you will not tolerate anyone abusing you, violating your human right, then why should you do it to another human being?